pilot, who we'll talk about in a minute, recommended that only 7 people fly with Aaliyah, or a total of 7 people in the party. She happened to have 8 in her party. And there was also some heavy equipment and luggage on board. Aaliyah was a nervous flyer, and she was immediately sort of put off by this. Another thing, the flight was scheduled to take off early in the night. It was about 3.5 hours late to arrive at the Abaco Islands.
Which, if you're a nervous flyer, already adds to your anxiety. You see this tiny plane, they're late, it's nightfall all of a sudden. Shortly after takeoff, literally 200 feet from the runway, the plane nosedives and crashes, killing nearly instantly 7 of the passengers and the pilot. The only survivor in the immediate aftermath of the crash was a man named Scott Gallen. Scott Gallen was Aaliyah's security guard.
Everything you thought you knew about Aaliyah's death is a lie. Eyewitnesses claim she was drugged and forced onto the doomed plane, and shocking new reports suggest her crash may not have been an accident. Alleged secrets tie Jay-Z, Diddy, and R. Kelly to betrayal, manipulation, and cover-ups. Her family stayed silent for decades, but now the truth is finally coming to light. Are you ready to see what really happened? Did you know Aaliyah reportedly had a fear of flying, and yet on August 25th, 2001, she ended up on a small private plane that would never reach its destination? Stick with me, because what happened in those final moments is far stranger than most people realize. Before we dive deeper, it's important to set the stage. Aaliyah Dana Houghton, only 22 years old, was at the peak of her career, dominating both music charts and Hollywood screens. She had just finished filming a music video in the Bahamas and was scheduled to fly back to Florida.
The trip to the Bahamas. In August 2001, Aaliyah traveled to the Bahamas to film the music video for Rock the Boat, a sensual, hypnotic song that had all the makings of another hit. The shoot was grueling, long hours under the relentless Caribbean sun, but Aaliyah remained composed and professional. Yet, something was off. Some who were close to her would later claim that Aaliyah had a bad feeling about the trip. She wasn't one to be superstitious, but there was a lingering hesitation in her demeanor. Whether it was exhaustion or something deeper, she seemed uneasy. Despite the long filming schedule, the shoot wrapped ahead of time. The team was originally scheduled to return to the US the following morning, but at the last minute, a decision was made to leave that evening instead. It was a seemingly minor change, but one that would prove to be fateful, the flight that should never have happened.
The plane assigned was a Cessna 402B, a small aircraft designed for 7 passengers, but that day it carried 8, plus luggage, and it was nearly 1,000 pounds overweight. Here's where it starts to get troubling. The pilot, Luis Morales, had joined the flight program just 2 days earlier and was reportedly under probation for drug possession. Eyewitnesses later claimed they saw Aaliyah being carried onto the plane unconscious. Some even allege she had been given a pill, causing her to fall into a deep sleep, possibly unaware she was boarding a plane at all. The plane took off at approximately 6:45 p.m. Almost immediately, it banked left and pitched its nose up, losing control. Within seconds, the small plane nosedived into the marshy terrain just beyond the runway, erupting into flames. 8 passengers, including Aaliyah, died on impact, while the one initial survivor, her bodyguard Scott Gallen, later passed away from injuries. Investigators cited multiple failures: an overloaded plane, improper cargo distribution, an unqualified pilot, falsified documents, and poor airline management. Yet decades later, fans and insiders are still asking the same questions. Why would Aaliyah board a plane she feared? And why was this flight so poorly arranged? If you stick with me, I will unravel the shocking details that hint at something far darker behind this tragedy. And that's what I will tell you in just a second.
I know a lot more about you than you think I do. It's time for us to stop pussyfooting with the truth. It is time for Aaliyah Dana Houghton's death to be properly investigated.
Before we dig into the industry drama, let's take a moment to appreciate just how big Aaliyah was. By the time she was 22, she wasn't just a singer, she was a Grammy-nominated, multi-talented actress, and one of Brooklyn's brightest stars. Her second album went double platinum at just 16, and hits like Are You That Somebody made her a household name across the country. But with that fame came pressure, and some of it was dangerous. Aaliyah worked closely with some of hip-hop's biggest figures, Jay-Z, Diddy, Dame Dash, and R. Kelly. On the surface, these collaborations seemed like career gold, but insiders suggest there was a darker side. Allegedly, R. Kelly married Aaliyah secretly when she was just 15, and she was reportedly pregnant at the time. That marriage was later annulled, but rumors suggest her mother may have known and even been complicit, adding tension behind the scenes. The industry itself was volatile. Biggie and Tupac had both been killed, leaving rivalries like Nas versus Jay-Z to dominate headlines. In this chaotic environment, Aaliyah allegedly found herself caught in the middle. Some sources claim both Jay-Z and Diddy were interested in her personally, turning what should have been professional collaborations into high-stakes games of influence and control. Jaguar Wright, a witness to some of this industry maneuvering, said, "Jay-Z was worse than Diddy, and we're going to deep dive this Jay-Z and Diddy connection to show how deep this might actually go."
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up.
Did Jay reach out yet?
Nah, Bob, he ghosting.
Why is everyone having such a hard time? He ain't doing shit different. He lined up D. Haven, stole his life and identity. He lined up Big L, stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love. Lined up R. Kelly. He wants to be the one.
Allegedly, both men sought to control her career, manipulate her relationships, and even suppress anyone who might oppose them. Aaliyah's life, at the time, was glamorous on the outside, but insiders describe a web of power, jealousy, and manipulation surrounding her. She was young, talented, and at the center of a dangerous storm, and that storm may have been closing in right as her career was peaking. August 25th, 2001. Aaliyah had just wrapped filming her hauntingly beautiful video for Rock the Boat in the Bahamas. She was supposed to fly back on Lenny Kravitz's private jet, but at the last minute, that plan mysteriously changed. Music director Hype Williams allegedly insisted she board a much smaller Cessna, despite warnings. The timeline grows chilling. Aaliyah sat in a taxi, complaining of a pounding headache, while her crew argued near the runway. Witnesses claim she was given a pill by her entourage soon after. She fell into a deep sleep. Moments later, her unconscious body was reportedly carried onto the plane. The pilot, Luis Morales, was underqualified, his license under investigation, and he raised concerns about the plane being overloaded with gear. Still, the flight took off. Within seconds, the nose pitched up violently. The left wing dropped, and the plane slammed nose first into the marshland just 200 feet from the runway. It exploded on impact. 8 passengers died instantly. Aaliyah's autopsy revealed burns, a head blow, and a weakened heart, suggesting she may not have been conscious at all when it happened. Official reports blamed overloading and pilot error, but survivors and locals whispered darker theories. This is where the story takes a chilling turn.
Few realize that Aaliyah's death unveiled 3 chilling truths about the creepy relationship between Diddy and Jay-Z. Secrets related to the truth behind Aaliyah's death emerged after Diddy's arrest. The unexpected demise of Aaliyah in 2001 shocked the world. The cause of her death has been subject to ongoing controversy. During her youth, Aaliyah had encounters with Diddy at a club. Despite Diddy showing great interest in her performances, Aaliyah did not sign with his record label and instead joined another one. In 2001, Aaliyah was forced to board a faulty and overloaded plane. It was rumored that her strange behavior stemmed from the pressure she couldn't bear affair from Diddy. Shortly after Aaliyah's passing, Jay-Z released an album in collaboration with R. Kelly. Aaliyah had secretly married R. Kelly at the age of 15. After their marriage, R. Kelly's personality changed drastically, and he physically abused Aaliyah multiple times. He even restricted her personal freedom. Aaliyah was a rising star in the rap world. Her rise to fame marked the industry's departure from male...
Because while the official reports point to an accident, whispers inside the industry paint a much darker picture. Eyewitness accounts claim that before boarding, Aaliyah was handed a pill by someone in her entourage. Moments later, she allegedly slipped into a deep, drugged sleep, carried onto the plane, unconscious. Why? If she feared flying, as friends often said, was this a way of forcing her aboard, or was it something far more sinister?
It's time for Fatima Robinson to speak up about what she heard on that phone. It's time for somebody to be honest about who gave Aaliyah the pills that knocked her out before she was carried onto a plane she didn't want to be on. It's time for the other dancers who knew she was terrified to get on that plane to speak up.
Then come the industry connections. Both Jay-Z and R. Kelly had ties to Aaliyah at different times, leaving behind a trail of tension, betrayal, and jealousy. Dame Dash, who was dating Aaliyah near the end of her life, later admitted Jay-Z was furious that she had chosen him over Jay. Could personal rivalry have bled into professional sabotage? Even more disturbing, witness Lisa Van Allen claimed R. Kelly not only married Aaliyah in secret at 15, but also had relations with her mother. She alleged that when rumors of Aaliyah's pregnancy spread, the marriage was annulled to save reputations. A tangled web of exploitation and silence. And then there's the Hype Williams theory. Aaliyah was supposed to return to the U.S. on Lenny Kravitz's private jet. Yet, mysteriously, she was switched to the smaller, overloaded Cessna. Why? Some allege this wasn't an accident, but a calculated move, forcing her into a dangerous situation she never wanted.
She was in Miami, and the video was supposed to be in Miami. And I had told her, I was like, Hype does this thing where he'll act like he needs more days just so he can get paid more. And don't let him do that. And then, all of a sudden she comes back and was like, he wants to go to the Bahamas. I was like, I told you he was going to do that. She was supposed to be on Lenny Kravitz's jet, and Hype took it. When we did Big Pimpin', like we're in hotels and he's in a house with a chef throwing dinners on our dime. And I'm like, why are we in a hotel and this nigga got his own house with a chef and we're paying for it? So I was like, I knew his tricks on what he used to do and how he used to play the label. So I cut the video like, we going back to Miami. So I knew that he was going to try that same play with her, and he did. I knew he was going to do that.
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up, man.
Yeah, it is. Somebody should ask him about it.
Yeah, they should. I mean, she'll still be here. If she was on the plane she was supposed to be on.
Industry insiders add more fuel to the fire. 50 Cent once questioned Jay-Z's strange silence after Aaliyah's death. Others, like Timbaland and DMX, broke down publicly when remembering her, describing Aaliyah as light in an industry surrounded by darkness. And the chilling pattern? Those who crossed Jay-Z or Diddy allegedly faced career sabotage, threats, or worse. Was Aaliyah's fate another example of this ruthless power game? The deeper one digs, the harder it is to dismiss the possibility. Aaliyah's death wasn't random. It may have been a message. Aaliyah's death didn't just break hearts. It shook the very foundation of music and film. Overnight, the industry lost its brightest rising star, and those closest to her never truly recovered. Timbaland confessed that her passing sent him into a deep depression, while DMX, holding back tears, poured his grief into the Miss You music video, calling her a light that once kept the culture alive. But as the tributes poured in, the shadows around her final hours only grew darker. The plane that carried her was severely overweight, flown by a pilot later revealed to have a forged license. Witnesses whispered that Aaliyah was unconscious before she even boarded, and the quiet switch from a safe jet to a doomed Cessna only deepened suspicions. It was the perfect recipe for tragedy, or perhaps the perfect cover for something far more sinister. For years, silence surrounded her story. Jay-Z's refusal to speak on Aaliyah raised eyebrows. Was it out of respect, or a deliberate choice to stay clear of industry secrets? Some even wondered whether powerful figures, desperate to protect their reputations, forced her onto that plane against her will. And the most chilling question remains: how many other Hollywood deaths, written off as accidents, are actually part of a darker orchestration? Books like Baby Girl and countless documentaries have kept these theories alive, feeding the unease that maybe we don't know the full truth. What we do know is this: Aaliyah's legacy as an artist, bold and ahead of her time, will never fade. But the mystery of her death continues to haunt us, leaving a story that feels unfinished. And now the question turns to you. Was Aaliyah's passing simply a cruel twist of fate, or was it something planned, buried beneath the surface of an industry that thrives on secrets? Share your thoughts below, and let's keep her story alive. And if you want to uncover the truths they don't want you to hear, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications.